All right, studying for an AWS cert? Then you know late formation can be, well, a little tricky. In this explainer, we're going to cut right through all that noise and give you the absolute must-know essentials to nail those exam questions.
Okay, let's get into it. Here's our game plan. First, we'll cover the basics. What even is lake formation? Then, we'll dive deep into its permissions model. That's the big one. After that, we'll see how it integrates with other services, tackle cross-account sharing, and finish up with the critical gotchas that you have to watch out for.
So first things first, we need to build a really solid picture in our heads. What is lake formation really, and what problem was it actually built to solve? Understanding that is going to be the key to a lot of the foundational questions.
Now, this is the official definition, and the words to lock in your brain for the exam are centrally governed and secure. Seriously, just think of lake formation as the one, single, all-powerful security guard for all the data that's sitting in your S3 data lake.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem. Before lake formation, it was kind of the Wild West. You had data everywhere, each place with its own security rules. It was just total chaos. Lake formation's #1 job is to stop all that, to create one unified, secure place for everything.
Okay, now let's get to the main event. This section right here on permissions, this is where most of your exam questions are going to come from. If you can really get your head around the lake formation permissions model, you are well on your way.
The exam will absolutely 100% test you on this change. The old way was just a mess, right? You were juggling S3 bucket policies for the data itself and completely separate IAM policies for the metadata in the glue data catalog. The lake formation way just cleans all that up into one single powerful control panel.
And this just shows you how powerful that control panel is. You have to know this hierarchy. Lake formation isn't just about giving someone access to an entire table. No, it lets you get super specific, all the way down to a single cell, which is just that intersection of a row and a column.
All right, so AWS exams love scenarios, right? They're not going to just ask you what a permission is. They're going to say, hey, you've got 500 tables and 100 different users. What do you do? And that's where knowing the right method is crucial.
This table right here, this is your exam cheat sheet. The named resource method, it's fine for small, simple stuff. But here's the big takeaway, the thing you need to remember. If you see an exam question with words like large scale, hundreds of resources, or if it asks for a scalable solution, your brain needs to immediately scream tag-based access control, TBAC. That is the answer they are looking for.
Now, lake formation is super powerful, but it doesn't actually do the data processing. It counts on other services to follow its rules. And this is a classic spot for one of those select all that apply questions on your exam. So let's look at who's on the team.
You gotta burn this list into your brain. When a user tries to query data with Athena or Redshift Spectrum or GlueJob or EMR, these services all check in with lake formation first. They ask, hey, is this person allowed to see this? Lake formation gives the thumbs up or down, and then that service enforces the decision.
And this quote just perfectly nails that exact point. It's straight from the developer guide, and it sums up the whole architecture. Think of it like this. Lake formation is the brain making the decision, but the integrated service, like Athena, is the muscle that actually does the heavy lifting of filtering the data before the user ever sees it.
Oh yeah, you can bet you are going to see a scenario question about sharing data between different AWS accounts. It's a super common, real-world thing to do, and understanding how lake formation makes it happen is absolutely vital.
This process flow is exam gold. You need to commit these 4 steps to memory. So, step 1, the producer grants permissions. Step 2, lake formation uses AWS Resource Access Manager, that's RAM, to send out the share. Step 3, the consumer has to accept that RAM invitation. And then step 4, and this is the critical part, they create a resource link. That link is what acts like a local pointer, so their services, like Athena, can actually query the shared data.
All right, let's wrap this up with the stuff that's designed to trick you. These are those specific little limitations and common errors that the exam writers just love to use to see who really knows their stuff.
Okay, this one is huge. An exam question might paint this beautiful picture where you want to share just a little bit of data with another account, and they'll suggest using a view. It sounds right, it sounds logical, but it's a trap. A view cannot, I repeat, cannot reference a table in another account. It's as simple as that.
So if you get a troubleshooting question, maybe about a glue job that's failing,
Your eyes should immediately start scanning for IM pass role. It is such a common mistake where the person or service starting the job doesn't have permission to pass its role along to the next service in the chain.
Remember this number, 100. That's it. 100 is the max number of data filters you can apply for a single person on a single table. It's one of those specific, testable limits that's an easy point to grab on the exam if you just know it.
This might be the most fundamental gotcha of all. The second you register an S3 location with lake formation, the old way of thinking just goes out the window. I don't care if a user has an IAM policy that gives them God mode access to S3. If lake formation says no, then an integrated service like Athena will deny access. Lake formation becomes the one and only source of truth.
You know, the big takeaway here isn't just about passing an exam. It's about understanding the real power of having one central, super granular permissions model. So as you finish up here, think about it. Think about a real data lake you know. Where could you get rid of dozens of messy, overlapping policies and just replace them with one clean, scalable lake formation strategy? That's the real value. Master that, and you'll be in great shape. Good luck on your exam.